Hello and welcome back to another studio vlog. Today I have a lot of stock that I need to get ready for two different shops. So one of them is Simply Divine and the other is Spookyoaf Studios. I'm first just working out what I need to get ready. I'm planning on sending a variety of different items like sun catchers, stickers, notebooks and other stationery bits. But first on the list of things to do is to make a load of sun catchers. The first design I'm going to be making is the Brontosaurus, and the first job to get done is just trimming all the black vinyl into 30cm squares so they fit on the cricket mats. So I just feed this through my little guillotine and then just trim them down. And then I use these like snap bracelets to stop the vinyl from coming undone on the tubes. This is a bit easier than using like tape, and then it doesn't leave any residue on the vinyl. I just moved the vinyl onto the mat with a print roller, so this is just a cheap one I got off Amazon. But you could use just a squeegee or anything, but I prefer the roller for this job. And then we're going to let the cricket do its thing. So the black lines normally take longer to cut out than the Suncatcher media, just because they're a bit more detailed, but this design in particular doesn't take that long to cut out. And then here I'm just trimming off some excess black vinyl, just because this bit wasn't used, and I may be able to make some use of it. And here I just peel off the excess backing. None of this is being used, so I just remove that. And then I'm going to go and weed the rest of the design. Next up, we're just going to cut them out individually so that they can be transferred. The next thing that needs to be done is cutting out the Suncatcher media, and again smooth it out with the print roller and then let the cricket cut it out. Usually I'd use a standard grip mat for this media because it is a bit thicker and it's rolled. So it does tend to come off the light grip ones, but these are brand new mats, so they're a bit too sticky for more delicate media like my sticker paper, so I'm just using these to wear down the stickiness a little bit before they're used for stickers. And then again, just removing the excess media that's not needed. It can be a little bit tricky because sometimes it doesn't cut all the way through the backing, but that's fine because we can just trim that off after. And then I'm just going to cut down the transfer vinyl so that we're only using what we actually need. And because this is quite high tack transfer vinyl, I just lay it on my cutting mat a couple of times just to reduce the stickiness, and then it's good to use. I prefer this stuff because it doesn't have a grid on the back. I actually find the grid can make it harder to apply the designs because I'm often not applying them in line with the lines. So yeah, I just prefer the clear stuff. And then we're going to take our time to line that up with the Suncatcher media. And then I just use the hard side of the squeegee to really push the vinyl onto the Suncatcher media. Again, because it's textured, you really need to make sure that vinyl is adhered onto the surface. Then I just remove the transfer vinyl. Now I tend to use this transfer vinyl several times. Normally I can do a whole sheet of designs with one piece of plastic, just to reduce the amount of plastic I'm using. I also like to put in little designs, as you can see they're like mini Brontosaurus that I've just added on there, and I'll use these for my mystery bundles just because I can't fit a full-size one on, but I don't want to waste the vinyl, so I'm just putting on some little ones that I can use for other things. And here I'm just rolling back the mat so that I can remove all the sun catchers. And then I'm just going to inspect them, make sure all the backing has come off where it should do, because again, sometimes you get like a little bit that hasn't cut through all the way, so I just need to trim that off. And I've tried various different settings and it doesn't seem to make any difference if it's higher pressure or anything. It still doesn't always cut through. I think it's because the media is textured that it doesn't cut through. And then here's another design that I'm making. It's just my calico cat, although it has been referred to as Earth Cat and I quite like that. This was a full day of just making sun catchers, so I had another one on the go. I didn't want to bore you with too much, so I'm just doing a little time lapse here. Off to post today's orders. Just got 2. You ready to come out? Yeah? Okay. There we go. Jasper? Yeah. And down we go. Good boy. So after that little walk to post my orders and walk Jasper, I've just come back to edit some packaging. So the first thing I wanted to do was update my Suncatcher packaging because I just wasn't 100% happy with it, and I had a different idea of how I wanted to do it. So previously I'd have the main card insert and then staple a little band across the top that said that it was a Suncatcher sticker, and that would allow me to add a hole if the shop required it. However, this time I've decided I don't want to do that anymore because it just takes too long, and also when someone's opening the packet they may actually rip the instructions trying to get into it. So now we're going to do it on a full A5 sheet of paper and then just fold the top over. So here you can see what the front looks like, and then the back has that extra bit of card folded over the top. The next packaging I need to make is for my magnetic planners, because I've never sent my magnetic planners to shops before, but I wanted to see how they do, as they do very well on Etsy. So I'm just going to make an A4 insert to help the magnet sheet stand up on its own. Because I want everything to look like it's all by me, I'm just taking in like the font from the Suncatcher window sticker and that sort of thing, just so all the colours are the same, all the fonts are the same. The bits of text and everything that I'm taking the elements from is from my notepads. It's all the same text, same wording and everything, and it just gives a little bit of detail about me and about my business. So I'm just formatting it to fit on the A4 sheet, and then I just need to give a little bit of information about what a magnetic wipeable planner is. I was being quite indecisive about what I wanted it to look like, so I have cut out quite a lot of me going back and forth on the design, but you can kind of get an idea of what I was going for. So here you can see the sheets printed out, so I'm just going to pack up some of them now. So first of all is going to be the cat design. So you see I just put an A4 sheet behind the magnet, and then I'm popping it in the biodegradable cello pouches. It took me a little moment to work out how the pens were going to go in, but I just decided to put them at an angle like this so they'd fit in my little display. Annoyingly, I didn't account for the fact that these pouches have text on the back just saying that they are biodegradable. So the title of the item is being covered a little bit, but you can still read what it says. In future, when I print more, I will probably change this. And you can see I'm also just alternating which side the pen's going on, just so that they fit in the little units a little bit easier. And I'll show you what that looks like at the end. And the other design that I'm also sending off is this floral dino. And then one of the shops I'm also sending the celestial cat design to. The studio I actually share with my boyfriend who works full-time at home, so you can see his chair to the right, and so I don't have room for another permanent table, so I just brought in my 5-foot market table to use as an extra surface just while I'm getting this stock ready, but it kind of got a bit overrun, so I'm just going to tidy it up so that I can practice my setup later on in the day. So a lot of this stuff is actually the cat stuff, like the little mushroom blanket and their treats, so I did move them back to where they should be. And you can just see to the left side here that display unit that I was talking about for the magnetic planners. This one's actually broken, but I did get sent a replacement one by the seller, so I haven't swapped it over yet because I didn't want to have another one break, so I'm just leaving it with the broken one at the moment. But you can see how they kind of stand up in there, and I think it looks quite good. So a lot of the stock at the back there is either stuff that just needs to go back in market stock, or it's for the other shop that I'm also sending to, because I was trying to keep everything a little bit separate, because one of the shops I need to supply display units and the other one they merchandise it all themselves. So I'm packing some of the stuff slightly differently for each shop. So the next item that I'm also sending is sticker sheets to both shops. So for these, because I don't want stickers to be coming off or being peeled off on purpose, so I'm just putting them in the biodegradable cello pouches again. Annoyingly, because my sheets aren't quite A5, they do have a little bit of overlap on the side, but that's fine because I need to stick a little label with my product code and the price on, so I'm just using them to stick the edge down, and it worked quite well. So I'm using this tiny little thermal printer. You can just see I'm just printing them out on the thermal labels so that I can print loads at a time and I don't have to worry about getting the Cricut lined up and everything. And then it means that I can also just print 1 or 2 if I need to top up. Yes, I did specifically pick that colour because it was really pretty. And you can see some of these sticker sheets, I've got my logo printed on the back and some of them I don't. Basically, the printer that I normally print the logos on the back has been having some issues with the roller and I didn't really want to faff with it. So some of the stickers are from a previous print and then some of them were printed new for this shop. But it's got my logo on the front as well, so the logo on the back was just a little extra. It's not really necessary. And then for the sticker packs, I couldn't decide if I wanted the price on the front or the back. For this shop, I'm putting the price on the front, but then the other shop, I put the price on the back. So I'm just working out what I prefer, which I think I prefer it all on the back. The next thing I needed to do was cut out the belly bands for the notebooks. I actually don't like making these belly bands, and I will be packing my notebooks and colouring books slightly different in future, but for now this is how we're making them. They're just annoying to make, and also they obviously provide no protection for the notebooks, so sometimes when they come back from shops they can come back a little bit dented, and I just wouldn't want customers really buying them like that. But because I've got notebooks from different manufacturers at the moment, I like people to be able to see the lined paper inside because they are ever so slightly different. But once I have finally transferred all to the new supplier, I will be packing them in cello pouches and then just adding a little insert in the back so that people can see that they're lined paper, because this way it will provide protection for the edges and everything while they're in the shops. So you can see they just wrap around the cover, and this is the other reason why I'm not 100% liking the design, because it does cover up the cover. Obviously you can slide the belly band off and back on again, and I just use a low tack sticker just to seal it on the back, and then putting the product code on the inside, and then the price just goes on the front. Now these notebooks actually came back from a different shop, and these ones were actually in fine condition. These ones you can see the packaging is slightly different, and I'm just putting the product code on the inside, but these have a different amount of pages, which is why I've left them in this packaging instead. The next thing I needed to do was glue some little signs on the front of these dish racks that I'm using. So basically for the Simply Divine shop that I'm sending the display items to, the shelves are slightly narrower than the length of the display rack. So I've just chopped off the front, and then I'm just adding in some card just to act as a stopper for the items that are on the front. Again, you'll see how this looks at the end when I show you my mock setup. So this is actually a different day, and I'm co-working with Okupoku, and I had to wait for these to arrive because instead of printing them myself, I decided to get them printed by a company. So all I had to do was score and fold them rather than cut them all out myself. So once I've scored them all, it's just time to fold them all over, and you can kind of see how they're then gonna work. At the top it looks plain, but then you fold it over and then it's got the information just explaining what they are, because not everybody knows what a Suncatcher sticker is. Because I felt your pain with that.
I grabbed it and then just kind of stood there and just laughed. I was like, oh god. My table name was so happy. So I was like, yeah, that happened. It's fine.
And again with these sun catchers, I'm just sticking the price label at the top right corner and then the product code at the bottom left corner. And because these ones will be standing, they won't have a tab attached, but the ones going to Spookyoaf Studios, they do have a little tab attached. But I didn't actually film this. Technically I did film it, but I realised I had my camera set up in completely the wrong angle and you couldn't actually really see what I was doing, so I didn't bother including that in this vlog. So this is now the evening and I am just setting up the size of the shelf that I've got for Simply Divine, just so I can double check before I send everything that everything will definitely fit on the shelf. I had mocked this up in Illustrator before, but I just wanted to double check in person because sometimes things can change, which I have had before for other shops. So first I'm just going to pop everything inside this masked off area. So this is the size that I've got to work with. So you can see the magnetic planners at the back, and then I'm using a little nail polish rack just for the sticker sheets and sticker packs. And then you can also see the little card stoppers that I've added to the front of the display racks. So the one for the sun catchers explains what sun catchers are, and then the one that's going to be in front of the notepads and sticker sheets, that's just my logo. And then in the middle I'm just going to put my notebooks. So I'm putting the pattern cat one at the back and then the celestial cat one at the front. Next up is to pack all this up in the box. So this is my stock for Simply Divine, so it's got all the display items as well in it. Because I've adjusted all these wooden racks, they're going to be left assembled, and then I'm just going to use the gaps in between to pop stock in, because it also keeps the stock protected inside as well. So the first one had sun catchers and some sticker sheets, and then this one I'm going to put some notepads. And I never actually buy bubble wrap anymore. This is all left over from orders I've had or from when I moved house and everything. So I tend to put the heavier things at the bottom, like these notebooks and the notepads, and then on the top will go the plastic displays and everything so that they're less likely to get damaged. And with my notebooks I always alternate which way they're sitting, so the spiral bounds aren't all on one side, just because it makes them a bit more level for when they're actually packaged away. Using these little stripy bags that I use at markets just to group some smaller things together, like the sticker packs and sticker sheets, just so that I don't have to use more bubble wrap for them because they don't really need protection from bubble wrap. I just want to keep them together. Now this box that I'm using was actually a box that I received some items in, and they had cut the box down further, but I obviously need this box a little bit taller, so I'm just using some extra cardboard just to reinforce the corners and bring it back up to be a taller box. So if you stayed this far, thank you for watching. If you have any questions about anything that I provide for shops or anything, just drop them in a comment below. And to see a full list of all the shops that I do stock in, just head to my website. I will catch you in the next one. Bye!